And so we said to Esther a few days ago, because she asked this question almost identical to the way that you ask it for different reasons. She said, Abraham, so do I have this right? I'm following the path of least resistance, the path of least resistance, the path of least resistance. And Abraham, oh Abraham, she was begging us at first and then shouting at us a little later. Please tell me that if I am doing my best to find the path of least resistance, it will lead me to a place of no resistance. What do you think? Seems logical, doesn't it? I'm on a path of least resistance, so I'm choosing a little less and 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 a little less. So shouldn't I eventually get to a place of no resistance? It's logical, isn't it? But here's the rub. You don't have that much time. Here's the rub. Every time you think about that resistant thought of which you are trying to find less resistance, your resistance is still active as you're reaching for less resistance. So you can soothe yourself and you can keep yourself from acting like a maniac or a mean person or a fool. You can count to 10 and do a better job in this moment. And we really recommend reaching for the best feeling thought we do, because we recommend that you do anything that can bring a little soothing to you. But really, the way that you find no resistance is by having no resistance while you tune in the direction of no resistance, which means focus there after meditating, focus there when you're feeling your best, because law of attraction is amplifying wherever you are. So think about this. If you're in no resistance and you care about this stuff, so you want to have glimpses of what no resistance means. So you're milking a no resistance state. So when you find yourself in utter appreciation, you are deliberately focusing there in utter appreciation with the intent of maintaining that vibration longer so that the momentum can move in that direction. You sort of getting what we mean? Imagine that you're standing here and there is this upward energy that is resistance free. And then there's this other spiral that's kind of like a tailspin. Esther sat to write with us the other day. She said, Abraham, I really want to talk to you about this. And she typed what she wanted to talk about. And we said to her, we love you so much. You are in a tailspin. Go to bed. Because we knew she did not have enough time to talk herself out of that tailspin. How you doing? Is this settling in a little bit? Everything that we've ever told you is still valid. We're just telling you something bigger than you have known before, because you're asking in a stronger way. And that is, as you stand there with this spiral up and this spiral down, so to speak, with this under the influence of source or under the influence of something that is less uplifting and less non-resistance than source, you have choices. But if you are resistant in nature, the law of attraction will not let you step over here into this updraft, even if you want to. You've got to get out ahead of it, yes? You've got to get ready to be ready. And so, what do you do in a practical sense? We're not talking about dealing with the work that you have to do and trying to make it better. We're talking about daydreaming about your own practice. We're talking about daydreaming about your own life experience and your own choices. We're talking about being so selectively sifting in what you daydream about that you tap into that updraft on a regular basis. We're not asking you to take all the stuff that doesn't feel good and drag it over into the updraft so it'll go up. Don't take reality and try to improve it. Step into that dream state where there is no resistance. Does that make sense to you? When you step into a place where there is no resistance, you taste the energy, you taste the experience. It updates all of your emotional awareness, and it helps you accomplish these things. First of all, it makes you more determined that you're going to do more of that. And this is the part that we want you to hear more than all other things put together that you've ever heard from us, ever. We want you to stop beating up on yourself when you're in negative emotion. We said to Esther, we love you so much, go to bed. We didn't say you're damned forever. We didn't say there is no hope for you. It was like, this isn't a good time. The law of attraction is not your friend right now. Do what you can to stop the direction of your thought, which means you got to silence your thought. Now, if you're really good at meditating, you could slip into a meditating mode. You don't have to go to bed. It was late. It was already way past her bedtime. You could sit and you could quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, you will catch that updraft. But the fact that you now know that it exists, now when you catch that updraft, when you get into vibrational alignment with who you really are, when you find your place in that non-resistant thought where your mind is still, and then things start to flow through your mind, those things are non-resistant in nature. But you know what they might be about? Fly fishing. They might be about having sex. They might be about pleasurable things that are not related to the work that you're trying to improve. Yeah, they're not related to the work that you're trying to improve, because when you focus upon the work that you're trying to improve, the momentum is already such that you can't do anything about it. Esther and friends were at dinner last night and on a lower deck so that they could see what was happening on the surface of the water. And Esther's been on so many of these ships. She loves it every time. And she especially loves new experiences every time. Lots of dolphins. Have you been seeing them? Oh. Whales. Oh. So Esther is kind of facing the window as she's talking with her friends. And the small boat that switches the pilots, or a special pilot gets on board to leave a harbor and then doesn't stay on. And so they bring the specialists for the right moments in time. So here was that little boat coming to get him. And Esther saw it out there coming toward the ship. And it said pilot on it. And then she saw it sort of fall back. And she thought, I thought the pilot was up there, not back there. She didn't say anything. She just wondered. And then she thought, maybe I missed what he was really there for, and maybe it's already happened. And then all of a sudden, that boat came with such speed and force up along the side of the ship. And then in a few very short period of time, off it went, and she could see that the pilot was on board, and off they went. And she knew for sure that that little boat had to get up to speed. Not just up to speed, it had to accomplish its momentum that could supersede the momentum of the ship. You see what we're getting at? This ship has already got a lot going on. And so it had to be ready. It had to be up to it. And that's sort of what we're talking about here. This is the way you ready yourself for the currents of the world. You tap in, you get your speed going, and then things that used to bother you don't bother you because they are insignificant in comparison with the power of the energy that you've got flowing through you. Yes? So now what?
So it feels like I'm this close to having a life better than almost anybody that I know. And it feels like I just give yourself permission, right?
Yes, and you do it in these ways. You do it by, when you're in step one, acknowledging step one is a good thing. In fact, it's what I came for. So stop beating up on yourself when you're in step one. And milk it when you're in step three. Just be so happy. You know the steps? Step one is contrast causes you to know what you don't want and know what you do want. Asking is step one. Step two is when you ask, it is given. Someone should write a book. When you ask, source becomes vibrationally equivalent with what you've asked for. It's done. There's a vibrational realm where what you've asked for, you ask for it and it is done. Now you might call that a dream state because it is not yet manifested. We call it a reality that you're not really that adept at tuning into, but it is an absolute reality. So step two is the vibrational reality is formed. Your request is answered. And step three is you find yourself in a non-resistant moment where you can receive inspiration and impulses and pleasurable thoughts that are about that. And really being effective at step three is what step four is. Step four is being really good at step three. But what step four is what you may accomplish as a result of this conversation. It's understanding where the energies are. It's understanding what non-resistance is. It's understanding that resistance is a normal thing. It's understanding that resistance isn't a bad thing, but that it's not the thing that you want to be doing all the time. Step 4 is being so good at knowing what your negative emotion means and then finding more opportunity to get out ahead of it. But step 4, which is mastery of alignment, it really is not about moving up the emotional scale in the sense that I'm just going to find a better feeling thought and a better feeling thought and a better feeling thought. What step 4 is understanding that there is a realm where no resistance exists, where your inner being is, and that your inner being is focused upon everything that you want and has that momentum really going well. And step 4 is you learning the tools that get you up to speed with that. And what are those tools? Do you know what they are? Meditation is the best tool of all, because when you really are effective at meditation, you quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, your vibration rises. And when your vibration rises, you tune into that. Why would anyone not do that on a really regular basis? That's what we call getting out ahead of it. Daydreaming is that. Do you know that everything that you're creating, whether it's your private practice, whether it's an empire, whether it's a cause or a movement, whether it's a relationship or a magnificent building project, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything that you are creating like that is more than 99% completed before you take the first board and the first nail to build the first structure, or before you get your first employee to assist you with the first thing. Most of the work is done in this vibrational realm. And when you know that, when you know how much you've accomplished, so what we're saying is most of it's done already here, and then all you want to do is get up to speed so that you can witness the birth of it. The birth of this part of it, and the birth of this part of it, and the birth of this part of it, and the birth of this part of it. When you get this picture, and when you understand who you are, and when you understand why you're here, and you understand all of this non-physical consciousness and awareness and interest in you, this non-physical part of you that is so keenly focused upon each and everything that matters to you, the next time you feel negative emotion, you can just say, oh, I got sideways of that, but they're all still doing that on my behalf, and they always will. They're not going to hold me hostage. No one is saying, we're tired of holding your place. Get with it or get off. No one's saying that, because you have created something so pleasurable for non-physical to focus upon. And when you tap into it too and feel the power of it too, then you teach to the clarity of your example. And then what happens? Really a wonderful thing happens, because we're not showing you how to create situations that you will always love. This isn't a conversation about this is how you get your practice going, and this is how then you never again have to ever do any of those things that you think you don't want to do. That's not what this conversation is. This conversation is when you come into your true power, you never feel bad about those things that you used to think you shouldn't have to do or that you didn't want to do, because you're looking at it through different eyes. It isn't the action or the behavior or even the human response to it that's bothering you. It's your departure from your true point of view. Because the more engaged and involved and connected to the true source that is you, that you are, the better you get at that, and therefore the more often those glimpses are your life experience, then the more enjoyment you're going to take from everything. Because then you won't be in a situation where you're experiencing what you have decided is a loss of control. You won't be feeling it's a loss of control. You'll be seeing it as data. You'll be seeing it as an opportunity to collect. You'll be seeing it as a decision-making process for you. You'll realize that you are always in control, that it was always a misconception on your part that you were ever not in control, because you were giving your power over to somebody who doesn't have the ability to take control over you in any meaningful way. Did that make sense to you? Something else?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Best conversation ever.
Thank you.
Yep.